There's never going to be another Guitar Hero. In fact, the phrase Guitar Hero as we know it no longer means what it used to. The guitar, however, as we know, is not dead. And this is despite the prediction of that crappy Washington Post article I had to lambaste a few years ago, which, by the way, looks like I was right. It seems though in today's day and age where your opinion has to be extremely on one side of the fence or the other, either the guitar is dying and guitar heroes are no more, or like a recent New York Times article states, the guitar is thriving and catching a second wind. A couple things to point out though, both the Washington Post article and the New York Times article were both written by journalists, not musicians. Maybe they dabble in the guitar, but they are not musicians. The way they write about the guitar and the editorial opinions they draw based on findings they aren't necessarily qualified to interpret, well, that's what causes the guitar community to react. And react we do because we're conditioned to defend our beloved guitars with undying passion and fervor. It's all a little dramatic though. I mean, these are pieces of wood and metal. They are fun to play though. Look, very few people realize that the guitar as a hobby, as an interest, as a tool in popular music, decade to decade, it ebbs and flows. But the one thing you can't do is manufacture trends. You can't force people to play music in any capacity. It must happen organically, right? So I think Billie Eilish is an unbelievably talented vocalist, and between her and her brother Phineas, who makes fantastic music on his own, might I add, these two are such a great pair of songwriters, and if you don't see how important it is that they're at the forefront of popular music, then this whole subject is probably a little over your head to begin with. My point is, the less of this we have charting, and the more of this we have charting, that's a good thing. But let's bring the conversation back to the guitar. Fender is making a play Wait, did I just promote their online lessons? I foiled myself. But seriously, Fender is going after a demographic that's up for grabs, and it's no coincidence they've also just released a signature Stratocaster for another dynamite artist called Her. The political commentary of gender equality aside, anyone with half a brain knows this type of female artist recognition is long overdue. The fact that these massive pop stars now have signature instruments along people like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, that's a big deal. And my thoughts are a little all over the place, so I'm going to try and organize them. First, I don't necessarily think Fender's intentions are that pure. Let me tell you why. This ukulele cost me $300. This is highway robbery. I was cruising down the internet road and I came across an advertisement, and then this suit from Fender wearing an oversized Billie Eilish hoodie drove up beside me, ran me off the tracks onto the shoulder, held a ukulele to my head and said, "You will buy this." And I said, okay. They're making an absolute killing on these things during a time when guitar sales are already soaring, as we know. Just seems a tiny bit greedy, but I'm not going to knock Fender for that. I mean, hey.
Business is business.
We'll move on to the positives, which I think outweigh the negatives. This ukulele is exposing millions of young people to an instrument that you actually have to play, a real instrument. You know, one that requires skill to make good sounds come out of. Another cool piece of this is that I think since this is Fender, it keeps the door open for potential follow-ups to maybe an Eilish signature Telecaster that maybe Phineas would play. Now they'll probably charge $3,000 for it, but hey, like I said, can't knock them, get that money. As I mentioned, Her already has herself a signature Strat, so that same insanely valuable and broadly untapped demographic I mentioned, it's now ripe for some electric guitar exposure. I can't help but recall a couple years back the article about how Taylor Swift was the next Eddie Van Halen. Of course, we all had fun with that headline. That was right at the height of the clickbait era and people reacting to things without reading the context first, which in turn caused journalism and creative integrity as a whole to slide into the depths. But I think we're trending positively back the other way, right? Anyway, the same thing applies here. See pop star with guitar, buy guitar. Or in this case, ukulele. The difference is that Billie and really Her to a larger extent, they have real musical chops. Taylor Swift is one of the best songwriters we have, but she's not exactly known for her blistering shred skills. Her, on the other hand, can hold her own with the best of them. So is Billie Eilish the new guitar hero? No, but nobody is. For reference, the first guitar hero was Charlie Christian. Considered by many to be the father of bebop guitar, his unique sound and approach influenced giants such as Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, and Thelonious Monk. He was even present at the legendary Minton's Playhouse jam sessions in New York City. To put it in context, that's sort of like being a ukulele player and being invited on Joe Satriani's G3 tour. The guitar in the late 1930s was not yet accepted as a jazz instrument at the time. Musicians like Louis Armstrong often had a banjo player in their band and not a guitarist. Of course, that would change thanks to people like Charlie. His lines were so far ahead of his time, he pioneered a style that, if it came out today, would still be cutting edge. It's timelessly musical and entirely his own. That is the formula for a guitar hero. But Charlie Christian is dead. The guitar hero as a concept is dead. But it's not because guitar players aren't innovating anymore. There are amazing guitar players who you're gonna see as my channel rolls out a new podcast coming soon. There are amazing guitar players doing amazing things in the guitar world. But the guitar hero as a concept is dead because we have too much access to everyone now, which is inherently backwards to the mystique of a guitar hero. You're not supposed to know them. They're supposed to be a shroud of mystery, a curtain you can't look behind, a door you can't unlock, a backstage pass you can't buy, a live show you can't see. I know it sounds cliche, but that is where awe and wonder are born from. That is where the inspiration is derived from. If you have to ask, you'll never know. The guitar and, its introductory cousins, it never went anywhere. My bank account, my smart YouTube peers' bank accounts, Fender's bank account, they can all testify to that fact. I'm selfishly glad guitar heroes don't exist anymore. It's a romanticized figure that not everyone gets to experience the same way. I'll always spread the gospel of Jimi Hendrix and Randy Rhoads and Jimmy Page and Dimebag Darrell and Eddie Van Halen and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Angus Young and Slash. In fact, those guitar heroes, living or dead, will never die. They're all we have, and frankly, they're all we need.